So for those of you that have been here for a while, I owe you an apology because I tricked you. And by been here for a while, I mean saw my video on April 1st because like 2,000 of you have just rolled in basically since April 1st. I played a trick on you and I'm sorry. And some of you still don't know that I played a trick on you because you didn't watch my video until the end. Yes, I did an April Fool's video about how I was leaving Puerto Rico because it was making me very unhappy. Some people thought it was funny. Some people called me a Karen and then had to go back and edit their comment and say, oh shoot, I just watched it to the end. I gotta change my mind. And some people still think that I'm a complete asshole, but that is okay. We're gonna clear that up today. And so what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be reacting to my own April Fool's video and telling you the truths, whether the things that I was saying were true or if they were not true. Just to preface this video, I am someone that is able to easily adapt to new places, okay? Because Puerto Rico has amazing beaches, beautiful mountains, incredible waterfalls, and people that I just adore here, I look past so much of Puerto Rico. I'm a kind of person that actually doesn't mind like the rough parts of town, okay? I always find myself at like the most scariest grocery stores, whether I'm in California or Puerto Rico, okay? That's just how I roll. I kind of like the thrill of not knowing if I'm gonna survive or not. I mean, for those of you that know, I went down to La Perla last weekend. It was on my bucket list. And sure, I probably shouldn't have come out of there alive, but I am here to tell that story. Let's get into this video. I'm gonna be reacting to my own video, telling you if what I said was true. How true was it? Was there some truth to it? Was there no truth to it? Let's get into it. 3 years ago, I moved to Puerto Rico, and I must admit, it was a pretty... Okay, let me slow myself down. I'm gonna go and put myself at 1.25, and feel free whenever you're watching my videos to speed me up, you know, so you could watch more of my videos. Impulsive decision. I had only visited for 3 weeks. I had gone back to California for 1 week to spend Easter with my family, and I just decided that even though I didn't really like my stay in Puerto Rico, my visit, I was gonna move anyways. This is actually true. I did not enjoy my first visit to Puerto Rico, and that's because I was kind of exhausted. I was just in Bali for 3 weeks. I had to travel like 2 days to get to Puerto Rico. I was just burnt out on travel. I did not stay in nice places. I stayed in like an Airbnb that was like $22 a night and just disgusting. It was gross. But I put myself in that position because, you know, like I said, I like things a little bit rough. You know, I just don't always treat myself to the finer things in life. And because of the time that I moved to Puerto Rico, I moved after January 1st, I was gonna have to do 3 years minimum. And that 3 years is coming up in just a few days. And as I reflect back on my time here in Puerto Rico, I think I've been sort of lying to myself about how much I've really enjoyed it. I think I've just been pretending to enjoy this place and failing to look past, you know, the things that are probably causing a lot of unhappiness in my life to this day. So I have had not all of the best moments of my time or like of my life here in Puerto Rico. I have had some challenging times, but that was mainly because of things I did to myself. And if you want to learn about that, go to my other YouTube channel. I fasted for 54 days and I just really messed with myself mentally and physically. Those were like the hard times and like that I've had in Puerto Rico, but it's a self-inflicted situation, okay? The times that I have taken care of myself mentally and physically, I've always just loved my time here. And there have really not been any moments where I could say that I have been unhappy in Puerto Rico. But overall, I'm a pretty happy person. And so Puerto Rico has been a challenge. It's been a huge transition. It has been such a culture shock from so many perspectives that getting the simplest things done here is harder than you could ever imagine. Getting simple things done can often be hard, but the transition here, to be honest with you, was really quite easy. Someone asked me the other day, they were like, what's like the one thing you would want to know if you were to like do this whole transition and move to Puerto Rico all over again? The answer is, there's really nothing that was all that surprising. I just was, you know, expect the unexpected. That's what I would say about moving anywhere. And, you know, I just didn't have high expectations. So it's hard to be disappointed when you don't have very high expectations. Registering your car, getting health insurance, getting car insurance, just going to the grocery store. And if you have a leaky sink, good luck finding someone to repair it. in a meaningful, amount of time. The truth is that construction here is really hard when it comes, I have not heard of one single person having a good experience when it comes to contractors. If I were you, I would literally fly someone in, or I would learn how to do it yourself, because you're gonna be a lot less disappointed that way. Getting things done like health insurance actually was pretty easy for me, and health insurance is actually really cheap here. My car is worth like $5,000. It's a Fiat 500 that I won on The Price is Right. When you register your vehicle, you have to pay $100 for this like baseline annual insurance. And I'm just like, I'm not really an insurance person. There are very few times where I feel like insurance is worth it. And so I don't even know what it's like to get car insurance, except when I just bought my Jeep, they offered insurance there and it was super reasonable. To insure my Jeep is like $100 a month. Everything takes forever. And the quality of work is just so low here. Sure, I pay 0% capital gains taxes, and if I was ever to start a business that exported services, I would only be paying 4%. And that is, in a sense, life-changing because I haven't had to work over the last 3 years. And if I continue to live here, I may be able to stay retired for the rest of my life. But what I've realized recently is that I'm just not that happy here. There would have to be something insane to happen here for the tax incentives to not be worth it. They are so worth it. They are so worth it. Puerto Rico would have to get like 10 times worse, and I would have to like, if I had to say like I can't go for an evening walk because I'm gonna get kidnapped or shot, maybe I would consider leaving, but it would have to literally get to that point for me to be like, it's worth it for me to go. There's a lot of things that I don't enjoy about this place. Dating here, good luck. Extremely difficult. I mean, the pool of qualified people is just extremely low. I was like laughing right here because I've never I don't put myself out there at all. I really don't try. I don't get on dating apps. I just put in zero effort. And in return, I'm single, but I'm single by choice. The beaches are so dirty. And every time it rains, they literally put the sewer water into the ocean. There's like this, if you're in a high-rise building, you can see the black spot in the ocean of where all the sewage is. Okay, so I have seen the black spot. I am not 100% sure if it's sewage. It's probably is sewage. Most of the beaches are actually really clean here. The dirtiest beaches are the beaches that have the majority of locals. So I'm gonna have to point a finger at the locals for not keeping their beaches clean. Like honestly, I was sitting at a bench and the coffee lid blew off and it fell in the water, and I was willing to like go dive in there with all my clothes on to get that out. Like I care so much about keeping the beaches clean, and that's something that I actually want to do, is spend more time just going out and picking up trash, because I love the beaches and I hate trash, and so I gotta do my part. It's terrible. There's just so many stray abandoned cats, so anytime I just try to go for a walk and enjoy outside, I just have to look at these starving, sickly cats all the time. And it's so hard to watch. And people here just don't care about animals. The amount of homeless dogs at shelters and the amount of people that throw dead dogs in bags, it just hurts my heart. And that is true. There is a big issue here with abandoned animals. There are lots of shelters and organizations that try to fix the problem. The last place I lived, there was a lot of really sick cats on that street. That street was like probably one of the worst. And that was the problem. Every time I left, I saw all these sick cats and I was like, oh, where I live now, I don't see that often. But there's a huge issue with dogs. And I have a friend that she's just trying to get as like many dogs off the island as possible. Getting anywhere is like such a pain in the ass, because you never know when you're gonna get a flat tire. Like it literally happens to you once a week because the potholes are so terrible. Finding a good place to live, the prices have like 2 to 3x in the last year and a half. Okay, so I have a Fiat 500. I got 80 little itty bitty tires, and let me tell you what, I haven't gotten a single flat tire, and I've had that car here for almost a year and a half. And the last thing I said, what was the last thing I said? Oh, the rent. The rent's more like 2x, but like, hey, like my landlord hasn't raised my rent after being here a year. So it really depends where you're going. The price has increased, but the bigger issue is a lack of inventory. Everywhere still requires masks around here. You can literally be walking down the road and the closest person is like 600 feet away, and the police will turn on their sirens and tell you to put your mask on, okay? Happened to me yesterday, actually, when I was on a walk/jog, and I just said, oh, I'm sorry, I dropped my mask on the ground, I had to throw it away. And either they didn't believe me, or they didn't speak any English, so that was that. It's so hard to find what you need at the grocery store, and Amazon Prime, yeah, that doesn't really exist here. It usually takes like 2 to 3 weeks to get your stuff. And during the pandemic, it was taking a month for people to get their things here. That is true. It did take a month during the pandemic, but I also must say that it takes about a week to get products. I've seen things sometimes come in 5 days. Depends on the size, where it's coming from, all that good stuff. It's like impossible to find a house that doesn't have cockroaches everywhere and ants. And you're lucky if the ants that you have don't bite you. I have all of these marks on my arm here. They're finally going away from like a ton of ant bites that I got over the last week or two. You're living on an island, you're living in the Caribbean. It's very common to have lizards in your house. I've lived in small houses and I've lived in big houses, and I see lizards in every house. The cockroach thing can be like, it's not like overwhelming, but the ant thing, oh, those darn ants, they're hard to get rid of. People will tell you they're gonna show up. Your housekeeper will say they're gonna show up. The handyman will say they're gonna show up. They say yes just to be nice, but they really have no intention on ever showing up. And the tax incentives, okay, that's true. It really is a thing here. They have no intention on showing up, but they're going to tell you that they're going to come. My housekeeper was supposed to come today. She told me an hour to 2 hours before when she's supposed to arrive that she's not arriving, but she's so good and I love her so much. She is just so nice that I will forgive her. She said she's coming Saturday, and I really hope so, because you know what? I recently got a housekeeper, you guys, and there is nothing better than clean laundry and not having to change your own bed sheets and not having to wash your dishes. Oh, it's a luxury. I mean, I literally kind of like live in a shack, but I have a housekeeper, and I think I'd rather have a housekeeper and live in a less nice place. It's just like, I'm so tired of always wondering if they're going to change them, or what if Puerto Rico becomes a state? You just never know. They're always making changes to the tax incentives. Last year, I just had to give an extra $500 to join a lawsuit against the government to make sure that they didn't change our filing fee from like $250 to $5,000. Yeah, that's right, I said it, $5,000. Well, I guess now I just know that you gotta just sue the government when they go against their own contracts that they create. The government? Insanely corrupt here. Like seriously, anytime there's a storm or anytime there's a natural disaster, people find locked up supplies that the government is hiding from people. Hiding. But on a good note, so this is the thing. I don't depend on the government for anything. I never have, and I never will depend on the government for a single thing, okay? It's like, this is the kind of relationship I have. I don't want to give you anything, and I don't expect anything in return. I know that your police officers will not come when I call 911, okay? It's okay. I'm okay with protecting myself. I know that I'd rather call an Uber than an ambulance. I don't anticipate you to pay for my food or my healthcare or my education or anything. I will take care of myself. You do your thing. I will do mine. I will pay you no taxes. I don't want anything in return. You don't fix the roads anyways, okay? So that is the kind of like perspective I have on things, and I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with that. I guess a bunch of funds that Trump tried to get to Puerto Rico were just released recently. And after all these years, they're finally covering up the graffiti that's everywhere. But guess what? Give it a few weeks and the graffiti will be back. You know, it's actually been a few weeks and the graffiti isn't all back, but what I can say is that the people that they hired to like paint, like even like down by the beach, they don't even like clean the sand off the sidewalk. They just paint like right over it, and it's just really, really, really messy. I am leaving Puerto Rico. I'm gone. I'm not gonna look back. I have 5 days left. I'm gonna hit that 3-year mark, and I will be good to go. Actually, I think you have to be here 3.5 years with the whole scenario that I told you about. So like I came in April, so I'd have to stay for like the rest of the year of 2018 and then 3 more years. I'm pretty sure. I will have served my time. I will have captured a ton of gains. I will have, increased my cost basis on all my cryptocurrency. I just can't do it anymore. I just need the luxuries back that the United States has to offer. I just want to go to Target again. I don't even really like Target, to be honest with you. The simple things. I need Chick-fil-A. Okay? There's no Chick-fil-A here. They say Chick-fil-A is coming at the end of 2021, but that means 2025 is when the next... That's probably true. But you know what? I recently learned how to make Chick-fil-A sauce, you guys, really easy. Ranch dressing, barbecue sauce, honey mustard. If you don't have ranch dressing, if you do have mayo and you add like some seasonings, like some garlic powder and salt and pepper, that will also work too. Some other, seasonings. I learned how to make my own Chick-fil-A sauce. Costco has these new nuggets. I think the brand is called Bear. You stick those bad boys in your air fryer and
next,
you get a little
is gonna
fix
come
of
to Puerto
Chick-fil-A.
Rico. Or not the next, but the first. So, my time is done. It's been good. I've met amazing friends. I have met lifelong friends. But for the sake of my happiness, for my well-being, and for my sanity, I'm out. I'm getting off this island, and I'm not turning back. I'm not really sure where I'll go yet. Maybe back to California. I take that back. I'm not going back to California. I said I would never go back to California. I'm not going back to California. No way. Absolutely not. Maybe Texas. Maybe Florida. I'm not quite sure yet. But I'm gone. I'm out of here. I'm not a Puerto Rican anymore. Most people would say I never was anyway.
So I would actually probably go to Portugal, to be honest with you. I would probably choose Portugal. I would consider renouncing my US citizenship. And I would consider getting citizenship in Portugal because I qualify because my dad was born there. And I'd probably head off to good old Portugal. Oh, I love that place.
Happy April Fool's Day.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you found that valuable. And like I said, I hope I clarified some things. Like, Puerto Rico is not a perfect place, but with all the things that it has to offer, my friend Sean King said it well. He said it's like 90% heaven and 10% hell. Some people would say 50-50. It all depends who you are and what you see in things. You have the ability to see the best in things. All I have to do is look at the ocean and like my mood just completely shifts, right? I just love being outside. Puerto Rico, I'm just such an island person. And I feel so free here and I love this place and I don't see myself going anytime soon. So I hope you enjoyed this video and as always, go out there and create a portfolio that you love.